Secret of the Mimic dropped just a week ago, and there is so much to talk about. From hidden clues to lore-changing info, I'm going to cover all the hidden stuff you didn't notice. As the 12th installment to the core games, Secret of the Mimic is the earliest point we've played in the timeline. Thanks to one of the trailers for it, we know that the game takes place in 1970, way before the Afton era. You're playing as a guy named Arnold, who is a Fazbear Entertainment employee, and he's been sent into Murray's Costume Manor to retrieve the Mimic since Edwin went missing. But now, let's get into looking at minor details that I guarantee you missed. First of all, if you look at the mascots, you can tell a lot of them look like Fazbear animatronics we know and love. Now, this obviously shows us that Fazbear Entertainment stole designs from Edwin purposefully. Also, when you have to go into the theater, you need to put together a Captain Springlock suit. Henry wasn't the first to make a Springlock suit. It was a stolen idea once again. Now, this leads me to believe that maybe one of Henry or William worked for Edwin, and left to work on their own project and business. This theory works due to many messages we get to see on the monitors around the factory, which back it up. There is a specific message posted by William Afton saying that he needs Murray's Costume Manor employees' contact info. Also, through these messages, we see that many staff for Edwin are leaving to work on a restaurant project. That certainly sounds a lot like Fredbear's Family Diner. Plus, many posters advertising Fredbear's are plastered around the factory. Now, moving away from the hidden messages throughout the game, let's look at the voice tapes that are spread around the game with many deep meanings. First of all, in one of the tapes, Fiona talks to Edwin about how he needs to slow down on ideas because the employees can't keep up and they're leaving. Plus, later on when you enter Edwin's office, the monitor shows he's losing money and everything's going down for him. Plus, later on, when you're going to the manor, Mr. Helpful goes over all the stats over the project for the restaurant, being Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. So obviously, piecing all this together, the reason why Murray's Costume Manor is never talked about in later games is because they went bankrupt, or something along those lines. Either way, it didn't go well for them. So that little detail solves why Murray's Costume Manor has never been mentioned in later games. Another tape which is significant in lore is when we hear Edwin talking to someone about how one of his clients are using him and they don't even think of him as a friend anymore. Then he says near the end that it's the last project he'll ever do for them. This leads me to believe that it is Fazbear Entertainment and they are doing whatever to become successful. This is also backed up by a whiteboard we see in games showing progress on parade floats, Fazbear Entertainment being one of the clients. Now, why would they need a float? Because they're only really used at festivals. Well, the only festival we know of is the Fall Fest. However, though, this kind of clashes with what we see later in the game, which is Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria in the R&D block of Murray's Costume Manor. The whole pizzeria is laid out with Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy, and in tapes we hear about how this is the project Fazbear Entertainment were having done. But putting that aside, the biggest lore changer from this game so far is in one of the tapes. Edwin talks about how someone knows about M2 and that all the copies have failed. If you haven't figured it out yet, that's the Mimic. But why the 2? Well, it seems that there was never just the Mimic. There's multiple. But that is as much as I'm going to cover in this video. There is still more, and also this is just personally what I've gotten from the games. If there's anything else you guys have gotten, please tell me in the comments. I've only listed the major ones, but next week's video will be the whole game explained, because by then I'll have had enough time to make my first Secret of the Mimic theory. So yeah, Secret of the Mimic is a massive lore drop. I can't wait to see what the community can find next. I've got my own theory ready for next week, so stick around, and as always, I hope to see you guys in my next video.